Alright, hi guys, I'm Manali. I'm a wedding photographer and educator based out of Charlottesville, Virginia. I am bringing you these YouTube videos super cozy from home in my home office, and today I'm kind of by my bar cart. I feel like I always shout out small businesses at the beginning of this, so I'm just going to keep up with the trend. This sweatshirt is Creative at Heart. It's from the conference. It's for creative small business owners. I've been multiple times, and I was actually supposed to volunteer for round 10, but it got pushed due to COVID, and I am hoping, I'm just going to put this out there for good luck. I'm hoping to be back as either a panel leader or a breakout leader in the future. I'm not going to hold myself to next year, but in the next couple of years. Regardless, I'll be there, so if you're attending, be sure to let me know over on Instagram, and I'll make sure that we can connect in real life, which would be awesome. I love that. It's my favorite thing about the conference. And then the bar cart, the print is a Paris print. Actually, let me show you. It's really pretty. It's by Anna with Love. She's one of my biggest creative inspirations of all time. So you should 100% go and follow her on Instagram. She has the coolest pictures. You'll have to just go. I can't describe it to you. You'll see when you go follow her. Anyways, today's topic is all about how to craft a weekly schedule as a photographer. This is one of my favorite topics of all time. I was on Rebecca Van's YouTube episode, and I will put a link down in the description whenever that goes live so that you can go and listen to that one as well, because she asks me a couple of questions and we go pretty in-depth back and forth on the topic, and I think that is super helpful because whenever there's a video where people are asking each other questions back and forth, generally they cover whatever's in my brain, and so that's just super helpful for me. But I'm just gonna dive right in. So this is actually also one of my most searched blog posts, and I think that makes sense because when I was starting, I was really curious as to what other photographers do and kind of how they structure their week. Obviously, as a wedding photographer, a lot of your Saturdays and Sundays are going to be spent shooting, so I was wondering how do they balance everything that's going on with their life and make sure that they're getting everything done without being super overwhelmed. When I first started my business, I was working a full-time 9-to-5 consulting job, and I would have to travel back and forth a lot, and so I would get really, really overwhelmed trying to balance that and running my photography business at the same time, especially on Mondays, because Mondays would kind of be okay, back to work, back to photography work. If I had shoots over the weekend, I had multiple things I needed to edit and send out and emails, and all the tasks just would pile up on me, and I would get super, super stressed out on Mondays repeatedly over and over again. And I think that one of the things that I really wish I had this when I first started was I implemented a batch system. I can't even remember when now. I think it was probably a year into my business. And basically a batch system or a batch schedule is essentially just when you batch certain tasks to specific days. So I'm going to walk you through my batch schedule because I think just hearing an example of it is going to make the most sense. But if you're starting from scratch and you want to make this and custom tailor it to yourself, here's how I would recommend going through it. Take a day, take a blank sheet of paper, and write down every single task that you can possibly think of that you do for your business. And then I want you to go through and either use different symbols or use a highlighter or whatever, stickers, make it fun. Try to group these tasks into similar types of, similar categories, essentially. Then, once you have 4 to 5 categories, maybe have a couple more categories, that's totally fine. You're going to assign each category to a day, and then voila, you have your batch schedule. Obviously, it's hard once you have to implement it and stick to it, but once you kind of get into a rhythm and a routine, it becomes a lot easier, and you're gonna feel just how much better it works with your life and your schedule, and just the mental burden that gets lifted from knowing when you're gonna do everything is huge. So I would recommend trying it out for a couple weeks. Try your hardest to stick to it. Obviously, not every single week is gonna be perfect. I'm just gonna walk you through mine so you can hear what I have to say or hear the example for it. So basically how I structure my week is on Mondays, I reserve for marketing. So I'm going to walk you through the basics of my marketing. I make sure that all my blog posts are scheduled and ready to go out. I only blog once a week, so this is pretty easy to do. I do also try to batch most of my marketing to one day at the beginning of the month, but before I was full-time in my photography business, I would take every single Monday to just make sure that blog post was ready to go. My Instagram captions and my grid and all that was already all the captions were written out, the pictures were chosen, like the location was added, and all that jazz. I use a tool called Planoly, which lets you auto post images. So I would just go and make sure that everything was set to go for the next week, and then they always go out like auto post. So I didn't have to touch it and worry about it for the whole week. I would just spend the rest of my week really just like commenting back, DMing people, interacting with vendors, and all that. So that's what I would do on Mondays, and I would also post to Facebook, so I'd make sure my Facebook posts were also scheduled out and ready to go. Now, this looks a little bit different for me. I am full-time in my photography business, so I always reserve one day. I call it my Marketing Monday, and I try to get all of my blog posts written for the month. I know, ambitious, I know, but I'm just like full steam ahead. Sometimes this takes 2 Mondays. Totally fine. And I actually schedule out all my Instagram content in 1 month. I had a video that went through the like more nitty-gritty details of how I do all this, so you can click here to watch that. Be sure to watch it after this one. I think it's a really good one to like tactically see this play out. I have an email list, so I'll make sure that my emails to my email lists are all scheduled and ready to go. I do a lot on this Monday. And now I try to make sure that I have some reels ready and like saved as drafts to post as well. So that's kind of what my Marketing Monday comprises of now. I also spend some time filming YouTube videos. Generally, this won't happen on my Marketing Monday because that's like already a lot of stuff. So I'll take one of the rest of the Mondays though, because I have all the rest of my marketing content like all scheduled out. I can spend some time and record these YouTube videos. So that's kind of what my Mondays all look like. My Tuesdays and Wednesdays are my client days. I try to keep all my portrait shoots, like all my engagement sessions as much as possible on Tuesday evenings. I do this for a couple of reasons. One, I'm a wedding photographer, so a ton of my Saturdays are already like taken up in a year, and I really value personal and like family and friends time. Like that's what fuels me up. So I try to keep my Sundays free from photography work if I possibly can. So I schedule all my engagement sessions and portrait shoots on Tuesday evenings. Also, this is huge and actually really, really helpful because a lot of the places, especially while I was shooting in DC, now I'm in Charlottesville, but both places, like they get extremely busy and super packed on weekends. And it's already like nerve-wracking enough having your photo taken, but if you're having your photo taken and there's like hundreds of people around and like people watching you and stuff, I think that that's just like a more nerve-wracking. So I try to educate my clients, let them know like, hey, I do like 99% of my shoots on Tuesdays. This actually works pretty well for most of my clients. Like, I used to be really worried. I was like, oh, like, I don't know if they're going to be able to like do Tuesdays, but a lot of people will just like take the afternoon off of work or something like that, and they just find a way to make it work. For some people, obviously, if that's like clearly not going to work with their schedules, then we'll try to either go with like a Thursday or a Friday. But if they really need a weekend date, like, I'm going to be flexible. I'm going to work with them. And so I do have some weekend shoots, but for the majority of the time, my client shoots, my wedding consults, and my week of wedding video call with my brides, they're all going to be on Tuesday. So Tuesday is really client-heavy day, and I also on Tuesdays will go through Honeybook, which is my client management system, and I'll look at all the client tasks, not just for the day, but I'll actually go through and look at all the tasks that I have for the week. I already have my workflows scheduled out, so it pretty much will tell me on a date, oh, this is what you need to do for this client, and I'll make sure to go in and send out the email or follow up with a bride that has inquired or anything like that, like send out a welcome gift and things like that. So that's what Tuesdays are for. Wednesdays, again, are client work days. So if I had a session on Tuesday evening, then I'll make sure Wednesday I'm going to call that session in Photo Mechanic. I'm going to edit all the blog images, make sure I have the blog post ready to go, and then I will actually also sync the entire session based off of the blog edits and pretty much just edit the whole session in a day. Again, I am full-time in my business, so this might be a little tricky to do all in one go if you only have your evenings. But I did loosely follow the schedule when I was also juggling a full-time job as well. So Wednesdays are really my editing days, and then if there are any other like client tasks, like sending out a wedding timeline or anything like that, then I'll make sure to do that on Wednesdays as well. Thursdays are my really fun days. They're like my business project project days. I call them biz dev days, and they're really fun. I just get to work on my business instead of in my business for clients. I treat my own business like it is a client and do anything that I have on the books. So generally I have 3 quarterly goals for my business, and usually each month is like specifically focused on one of those 3 goals, and so I'll use Thursdays to work on those specific goals. But if there is like anything else that I need to update on my end, like say I need to make an update to my website, that's going to go on Thursdays. I used to in the past also do my finances and my tracking and stuff like that on Thursday mornings. I still do that. Sometimes I find that like if I have a really big business project, I'm not going to get to the finances stuff on Thursday, and that's totally okay. But I used to manage my QuickBooks, so make sure all my transactions have receipts uploaded for each one, track my mileage, and then make sure like if my accountant needs anything from me or if I have any questions, I'm going to reach out to my accountant, just like look through my business bank account, pay off like my business credit card if I need to, just all the financial, just like little nitty gritty things to do. I always slot them for Thursday. So if I get a letter in the mail from my accountant, or like I get an email or something that I need to do or I need to send to her, I used to like be like, oh my gosh, alarm, drop everything, do this. If it's not time sensitive now, I'm just like, okay, that's fine. I'm gonna have time on Thursday to do this. So obviously that's like a lot jammed into 4 days. I do really try to do very focused, intent work Monday through Thursday, so that I can take Fridays off, or at least Friday afternoons off. So Friday is really my overflow day. If I'm having an off day, like mental health reasons, if something comes up, like there's an emergency, or I need to pick up my best friend's brother from Costco because his tires blew out, real life thing has happened, then that's fine. I have some extra time on Friday in order to get anything else that I need to done for the week. I call it kind of like my overflow day. And generally I used to take all of Friday off. Now I find that with education stuff, I definitely need to do, like put in some hours Friday morning. And I'm still just like making sure that my inbox is at 0 and all that stuff. So I'll spend the first half of Friday working, and then Friday afternoon I do my weekly reset. So I'm going to do a video on this. I said that I was going to in another one, and so I need to jot that down. But what I'll do is I'll actually go through and look at what do I have coming up next week, what are my top 3 things that I want to accomplish next week, and then I actually go through like a weekly cleaning checklist and like kind of like deep clean, not like super deep clean, but really clean my apartment from like head to toe, clean my office, just give myself a really good fresh start going into the weekend. And that way I don't have to worry about cleaning on the weekend when I can just like be resting, relaxing, enjoying time with people. So that is my weekly schedule from start to end. If you have any questions at all, feel free to drop them below. Make sure you follow along on Instagram if you aren't already. I'm at Manali Sontake, and I love sharing just like more behind the scenes tips and tricks, and even like having Instagram like DM conversations with people that follow on anything like photography, business, life related is like my favorite thing and is kind of my jam. So I'll be sure to catch you there, and be sure to subscribe and follow along so you get the notification for the next video that drops next week. Hope you guys are having a good one, and I will see you guys later.